If you were to take out get ready for a half marathon and put in get ready to launch your offer,
Or actually it applies to achieving any goal
any goal,
and stone that you're planning on setting.
I think that these lessons are very pertinent.
Welcome to Purposeful Podcasting. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Krystal. This podcast is meant to share how we and other entrepreneurs bring together purpose and passion to leverage profit in our businesses.
We are shining a light on adventure-loving, purpose-driven, action-minded, authentic, and rebellious entrepreneurs.
Just like us.
So join us as we talk about business and life and everything in between. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Purposeful Podcasting. Hi, I'm Wendy, and I'm here with
Krystal, who was just staring at her a minute ago, like, are you starting this or am I starting this?
I know, usually we make some broad announcement. First off, I'm here to congratulate Krystal on successfully completing her first half marathon. What we're hopping on to talk about is our takeaways, because we were both there.
Yes, we were.
Yes, we were. We do have takeaways that I think are a bit business and life lesson-ish.
As you'll recall, we kind of did the parallels to training for this sort of thing. Back in season 1, we did podcast episode about this and kind of touched on it. If you were to take out get ready for a half marathon and put in get ready to launch your offer.
Or actually it applies to achieving any goal.
Any goal.
And stone that you're planning on setting.
I think that these lessons are very pertinent. We got ready for this half marathon, and I got to tell you, leading up the couple weeks leading up to it, I was like, oh, shoot, I'm not ready. I haven't done enough to prepare. I should have trained more. I thought I had more time. Life got in the way. Like all of these life events got in the way. It was cold outside. Yes. There are all these things. And then so we show up the morning of, and I knew what I needed to do. I had a pacing in my mind. I had a set pace of if I could do 15-minute miles of a walk run combo, I would finish just fine. And off we go. And I did it. I finished it. Got to the end and I thought, okay, now I've got the confidence to do something again next. So what does it have to do with like setting a goal? I think that a lot of us end up with a lot of this same thoughts in leading up to the goal. And there was this fear. And we did another podcast episode on like the hats that we wear. I think you had asked me, like, would you have announced that you had a runner hat? And I said, honestly, 3 months ago, I really wasn't telling anybody that I was doing this because I was scared of what if I fail? Or I was scared that they were going to laugh at me because traditionally in my family, I was the least athletic person. When I did tell some members of my family that I was signing up to do this, they all laughed at me. Or I either got a mixture of laughter or, well, that's dumb. Why would you ever do that?
Oh, that's so not nice.
No, it shakes your confidence quite a lot. And you have to kind of remind yourself whose opinion matters. I love the Brene Brown exercise of the Post-it note. Find this tiny Post-it note and only write down the names in that little square of
your
like
square squad.
your square squad. Who matters? Who matters? And quite frankly, the opinions of the people who are not in the arena, the opinions of people who are not willing to go do the hard thing that you're trying to go do, whatever goal it is that you're trying to set, their opinion does not matter.
You yourself have to make that determination. I can tell you that till I'm blue in the face, but unless you actually believe it, perception is reality until you make it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
But the beauty is that the confidence grows and grows.
The confidence grows. I'm getting ready to sign up for another half marathon, which is crazy.
No, it's not crazy. I will not be joining you this time. No. And my outcome was completely different. Interestingly, I think about it and I signed up because I was afraid of missing out. FOMO.
FOMO.
I'm not a runner.
Mm-hmm.
Not my thing. I have I can start off by saying I have bad knees. I have bad feet.
Hmm.
There was this whole FOMO thing, and there was incredible indecision about what the heck I was doing. I'm like, oh, I'll just, do a 5K. Oh, I'll just do a K, 10K. Oh, I'll just do the whole thing. Not, and mind you, there was no preparation or training leading up to this. No,
Hmm.
I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to walk. That is not how you prepare for anything. And I think about it and I think of how I prepare when I row. I know my pace, 30 seconds.
Yep.
I know what my pace is really at any time. I couldn't have even told you what the rules were for this. I thought I was like, what? Really? 16
Hmm.
minute mile? What are you talking about? Balloon people? I don't understand. All this kind of stuff. I think about how we do launches and how we do things. And I'm like, oh, I would never treat anything, actually chalked it up as being disrespectful to a goal.
So there's a lot of truth to that. And that's a hard thing to say out loud too. When you're launching, when you're getting ready to do a goal, and this was a lesson for me, and anybody that knows Wendy and I know how close we are. She is my soul sister. She is like one of my favorite people in the whole world. I will never sign up to do a race with her again. That is like not a disrespectful thing to her or to anything else. I will sign Wendy up to come be my cheer squad every day of the week. I will sign Wendy up to come and cheer me on. Likewise, she's getting ready to like row a marathon. I have no interest in jumping on that bandwagon with her. So I will cheer her on and I will be her loudest supporter. If you're going to launch an offer, for example, you have to surround yourself with people who have the same goal in mind as you do and know what it's going to take to get that outcome
Or know their place.
and know their place in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, come on. You had to hang out in the corral with me. That couldn't have been that bad.
It
That was
wasn't bad at all. It was
was a
awesome.
joke. There's definitely something about having the same priority. And that's
Mm-hmm.
especially true when you're launching, especially, my gosh, the people around you have to have that same priority. At this particular time, that is your priority. And I thought about it and I realized that the day I left for the airport to go to Orlando, I rode that morning. I had
Mm-hmm.
rode, I think, somewhere around 37,000 meters that week because I was in the middle of a challenge to raise money for cancer. That
Mm-hmm.
was a priority. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, oh, yeah, I'm just going to walk this race. Also, it's a matter of focusing in, and you were singularly focused. I mean,
Yeah.
you were absolutely, you're like, hey, I just ran 8 miles. I'm like, what?
Because not only that, because for the year leading up to it, or not the year, the 6 months, 9 months, whatever it was, we signed up in April and we ran in January. And I don't do time math. I canceled my Peloton membership
Mm-hmm.
because I knew if I needed to
Yes.
do exercise, I needed to get out and run. And I have a really good friend here who would invite me to go do spin classes with her or go do hit classes. And I actually had to, in the weeks leading up to her saying, no, I'm not going to do that on Saturday mornings. I needed to get my butt ready to run. Like I said, there were all kinds of reasons not to run, to
Mm-hmm.
not get ready for this. And I had to figure out the priority and the time
Mm-hmm.
to make that happen, which was really hard because it
Yes.
meant putting myself first
Mm-hmm.
ahead of my family in a lot of instances and a lot of evenings. It meant
Mm-hmm.
having to rely on other people to get things done, like telling my husband, you have to put the kids down tonight and have to do all of the things, which he's excellent at doing, by the way. It like has nothing to do with anything besides my own control freak
Mm-hmm.
issues and having to let things go. I had to do that so that I could have the time for myself to go get ready for this.
Mm-hmm.
The same is true when we launch an offer or when we launch a business. When you and I launch a program, like when we launched Purposeful Podcasting Boot Camp, there was a singular focus in our business. There was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of talks and training and conversations leading up to that. We
Right.
both knew what the end game was. We were both in total alignment and in total sync of what it was going to take to get there. And then there was some taking time out on evenings or other times to be able to like get that off the ground.
Well, and it wasn't as if all of a sudden it was like, well, we're launching this, but let's also drop this in or something along those lines. Just focusing on clarity, simplification, really a narrow focus. Or what I like to think of is you go deep, but you're going vertically deep. not
Yeah.
horizontally deep. And you can go as deep as you want. It's got to be very narrow. We've done that and we continue to do that. It applies to a lot of different areas of our lives.
Because it's not only that super deep focus, there was also a lot of time given to hit that goal. I think a lot of people think I'm going to launch something or I'm going to do this thing, and you can't just show up. I mean, showing up is important, but
Doesn't
you
work.
can't,
Take my
but
word
it
for it.
but it doesn't work. You have to have certain things in place. When we work with clients that want to launch an offer, we're like, great, to who? Like there's like list building, there's all these things in preparation that have to take place before that cart opens. And I think the same thing is true for a marathon row or a half marathon run,
Mhm.
whichever it's going to be. I've never been to a row house. I haven't sat on a rowing machine in
Mhm.
years. I can't just show up and row with you a marathon. I could. I would be lying on the floor half dead while she like left me in her dust,
Or sitting in the bleachers, freezing, waiting for you
waiting
to
for me,
race.
waiting for me, which she did. That was a good friend.
I think this is where our natural abundance comes from, is that you take every experience, you learn from it, kind of dissect it. And what are the pros? What are the cons? What did you learn from it? What
Mhm.
takeaways? I just love the fact that one of your takeaways is that you want to do more of this. Hey, there's an endorphin high that comes with this sort of thing that is fantastic. You will probably see as you continue how your creativity sparks, all these other
Mhm.
things. But it has to be something that you want to do.
Well, and what it is we also had to learn we have to play to our strengths.
Oh, amen.
We had to play to our strengths.
So funny. Oh, I can't stop laughing.
This was not a strength of yours. This was a strength of mine. And then
Yeah.
likewise, I know in our business, I
Mhm.
know when to get out of Wendy's lane and
Oh,
when
and I'm
to,
always out of your lane.
and she's out of my lane. This partnership is formed because we have, I mean, aside from the fact that we just really like each other and enjoy each other's company,
It's fun.
and it's fun, but we could do that without a business
Right,
necessarily. We just
right,
travel. But
right.
the from the business side of things, when Wendy has something contextual about content, about any kind of the business side of things, about the foundational pieces of strengths, of values, of mission statements, of all of that and more, I could go on and on. That's her wheelhouse. I will always defer to her expertise when it comes to those things. If I'm going to set up a workflow, or if I'm going to set up things from a strategy standpoint, or if I want to set affiliate price points or things like that, we might question
Marketing.
once or further. Nope, that's me. I get
Yeah.
the final say on that.
Mhm.
And because we respect and value each other's strengths and allow each other to play into that. In this context, I think that was the big lesson learned here too, was play to your strengths.
In terms of, yes, you play to your strengths, but also we have lesser strengths. And knowing what they are and not torturing ourselves about them. Okay, so let's just say running is my lesser strength.
Running is maybe a lesser strength. I would say, why force that?
Oh, exactly. No,
Sorry.
you absolutely do not have to. And that's the thing. And that's exactly the point, is that we also find in business that we have what we call lesser strengths. And that may mean why we hire someone to do our accounting,
Mhm.
or we have someone who actually implements the social media strategy or things of that nature, which frees us up and our minds up to focus on what we love, what we're
Yep.
passionate about. I think that's also a really big learning thing, that probably had I paid more attention to this race, I just would have been stressed. Ain't my thing. Ain't my
Yeah.
thing.
And I think that kind of leads to my final thing. So you had said you had signed up for this race because of a little bit of FOMO.
Mhm.
I had signed up this race because it was a big bucket list of mine. I had said that I've always
Yes.
wanted to run a half marathon. And I had said that for years. I had
Hmm.
said, I always thought it'd be cool to say, I've run a half marathon or I've run a
Hmm.
marathon. And so I was really rooted in a purpose here with running this race. And I had a big goal. But it was rooted in something that was very internally motivating for me.
Hmm.
I think that's really true when you're setting a goal anywhere. If you have internal motivators, that is going to take you so far and
Yes,
fast across the
exactly.
finish line, more so than any external motivators will be, whether it's FOMO or fear of failure or monetary or like a shiny medal, that's not
Mhm.
enough to motivate you across the finish line. There needs to be some sort of internal motivator that is rooted in purpose and passion, that's really going to give you the resilience and the grit to do all the things to prep to
Right.
get you there.
Not to get nerdy for a second, but
Mm-hmm.
there are hedonistic goals and there are also these intrinsic goals. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, money, FOMO, it's all a hedonistic goal and it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get you very far. Ultimately, it just makes you really sad and unfulfilled. But when
Mm-hmm.
you focus in, and I love that, this was a bucket list, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you could write a novel as to why this was important to you. And having that is so important in actually being able to achieve it. So you've hit the whole goal success right on its head.
Yeah, purpose matters.
Yes.
Purpose matters. It's obviously the foundation of everything we teach at Serendipitous Travel. But that was what Wendy said when you said that to me the day of. She goes, "You had a purpose.
Yep. Yep.
You had a purpose."
Yep. 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 And I was just along for the ride, which, had I just been along for the ride, would have been absolutely perfect. I make a really phenomenal battle buddy.
She is a phenomenal battle buddy. And like, to her credit, she still got her butt up with me at the crack of dawn. It was before the crack of dawn. It was 2:30 in the morning. And
Ugh.
trudged over in the freezing cold to the start line in the
And
corral.
for 2 hours. Oh,
And then
God.
waited on the cold bleachers for me to be done. And then very pleasantly took me to stuff my face with a double cheeseburger after the
It
fact.
was really well. And I also had to have, actually, it was a double cheeseburger.
It was a
And
double cheeseburger,
it
and it
was
was really good.
yes, yeah. There is much to be learned in every life experience. And I think that just be open to learning and exploring. I know that, doing this again would be insane. So I will not be doing it again. But I've learned valuable lessons. That's part of it. That's all part of the journey.
And if you're lucky, you get to have a battle buddy like I do that gets to have these meaningful conversations alongside of it to see all the sides and then kept cheering me on all the good points. So
One last clap. Yay. Congratulations. That's a huge milestone. That's a huge,
I
huge
did it.
bucket list, milestone, achievement, big check. Now you got to figure out something else to put in this. Maybe it's an Iron Man. On that note.
And until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating.
But only if you liked it. Otherwise, just keep it to yourself.
You can learn more about purposeful podcasting on our website at serendipitousrebel.com.
And if you have topics you'd like to hear about, be sure to submit them on our website or DM us on social media.